Jema. So we are on 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavat Puran. Sri Krishna has been born. That is the part we touched last time. So on one side, we see that there is a celebration in Nandagaon. But there is every small little story here is a very occult story, very, very beautiful occult things are there in it. So Sri Krishna, the mother has said that the stories of baby Krishna are basically of the psychic emergence in man. When a psychic being is born or it comes to the surface, you are identified with the psychic being. And we can use a more general term when divinity is born in us, because that's the whole symbol very clearly. The divine coming to earth opens the possibility of divinity being born upon earth. So whatever he undergoes, that becomes a kind of replica for humanity which will follow in that steps. That's the whole idea. Otherwise, God can do magic and miracle right from there. Shri Krishna doesn't have to assume a material body, or Vishnu Bhagavan doesn't have to assume a material body. The whole purpose is one, to leave an imprint upon matter so that those generations which will come will follow along those tracks. A very strong imprint which goes on. The second is there is a work which has to be done in matter. Possibilities within matter. That has to be also released. So, and third, of course, the far off goal is eventually divinization of matter. That's why the divine takes a human birth. Or birth in a material body. So this is the whole idea behind the avatarhood. It's not just a question of killing some demons, and because there are many vibhutis through whom it can be done. There are so many wonderful, great, valiant heroes and warriors, and they could do this. But this is the story. And then, of course, when it is narrated in the form of a Bhagavat, there are deep, profound symbol truths, occult truths, which are given to us to understand and navigate in our life. This is the background. So one is that the birth of Krishna is in very difficult circumstances. Normally when we read Sri Krishna's story, then we just enjoy because he gives delight. But just for a moment, think about a child who from the womb onwards is haunted by all the demons and devils. Just imagine for a moment, like, okay, but Rama is born and grows up, and then comes the challenge. With Sri Krishna, the challenge starts from the womb itself, even before he enters. So there is a play of the darkest forces before the divine advent. That is what is reflected in Sri Krishna's story, which is what he explains in the Gita, Yada Yada hi dharmasya glani. So first there is dharmasya glani, bhavati bharata, abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatma shajam. So if we look at today's context, then the densest darkness was in the first half of previous century. There can be no doubt about it. Okay, every age finds its own darkness, but that's the darkest age. Before that, before the Mother and Sri Aurobindo coming, we can see the kind of darkness. We have given a talk on that. So he comes in that hour. There is a cry in earth, there is a call, there is an aspiration, and as a result, answering earth's yearning and her cry, a greatness from our other countries came. Line from Savitri. So it comes, takes a human body, and a new story comes. But the darkness doesn't immediately leave. It has to go through its own period of struggle. It applies in a way in everyone's life. So if we want to rise to greatness, it's not like the way it is shown that you're doing some, garbaras and some dancing, doing some bhajans and you will arrive. Real yoga is real yoga. It is different from talk about yoga. And that's what we see. How Sri Aurobindo says, mother says, it's there in the Bible. And she says, yes, it is very true. That those who are marked out, chosen ones of God, they have to go through tremendous difficulties. So once there was a little joke about it in Singapore. Someone asked, sir, my life has been very comfortable. What do I make out of it? Then a person with me, he made a remark, maybe God has not yet looked at you. And it's very true, because it's becomes challenging. Everything. Look at Krishna's life. A baby just born, let him at least celebrate. But right in the beginning, who comes? Comes Putana. Putana is again a demoness, being of the vital world, as you can see from the description. How these vital world beings are described, that they will wear a very nice human form. She takes a human form and very enchanting, and so enchanting that even Yashoda Ma and all of them nearby, they allow her to go near Krishna. And she takes baby Krishna and puts Sri Krishna to her breast so that he can drink the milk. It is a very, very profound metaphor. There are lines in Savitri with regard to that, and I explain what this milk is. So in Savitri, at one point, in book 1, canto 3, there is a line, he has drunk the milk from the mother of the worlds. This is one. A developed psychic being has drunk. But there is another place that how the forces of falsehood, she comes. And how she comes wearing very nice and charming garb. And if you listen to her, it says that one should be so cautious that your whole yoga can be destroyed. Marked missing in the register of the gods. If you read those lines, that one should be so careful, so conscious, so vigilant. But Krishna has come to not only to destroy these possibilities. So she comes, takes the form of a beautiful maiden, very loving, very kind. Again, Kalanevi, this is a description. Don't go by appearances. Just because somebody appears as a sadhu, somebody appears in a ochre robe, somebody claims to be knowing some slokas of the Gita, doesn't mean that the person is necessarily a divine messenger. Even in Bible, all esoteric traditions say that. In fact, the Bible says devil quoting the scripture. So one should be very conscious and careful, not lose the discernment. So here, Sri Krishna is discerning. So the story goes, Putana comes. And what does the child want? Knowledge. Now, milk. Now, milk is a symbol of knowledge. So there are two kinds of knowledge. There is a divine knowledge. And there is a dark knowledge, a distortion of that knowledge. You see what is happening nowadays? Or always has happened. The same truth is completely distorted. And there are beings who are feeding this. And there are children who are drinking it. So Putana, as the story goes to different places. Because she is told that be in Braj, go to... She is trying different places. Then she finally comes to Braj. So wherever she goes, she makes children drink this milk. What happens? It's not like they are dying. It's shown they are dying. But they are dying to the spirit. They are dead to the soul. There are children like that. Even today, you will see many who cannot understand now because their mind has been darkened before they have grown up. So that is what she is doing. But what happens when she comes to Brajbhumi? Her magic doesn't work out. Now we understand what is the significance of living in the ashram. She will come. You can't expect that she won't come. She will come. She will try. But the magic doesn't work because there is a greater shell, a greater protection. People will go through the challenges, but there is a great, great buffer. I think yesterday I was mentioning about that details of the vision, that while things are taking place outside, but in the ashram there was a people who were living in a sheltered way. I know of people who came only seeking shelter during Second World War. And the Divine Mother granted them. And they just remain sheltered. It's not that they came to make progress. But once you come, there is a level at which a different kind of security which begins to operate. So as the story goes here, in Brajbhumi, her magic didn't work. Why it didn't work is obvious. Then she goes, says, he is the person. Finally, she's trying because she doesn't know who is that boy. So she comes finally to Nandji's house, and Nand and Yashoda Ma allow her to go near the child. What's wrong with that? So she picks up the child, and what does baby Krishna do? He not only, it's the description may sound gory, but it's very interesting. He doesn't suckle the milk and thereby she dies. He squeezes the breast so badly that they get injured. And from the breast, milk oozes out. It's a very occult description. actually that, sometimes that poison is completely thrown out. And she gets so pained, so much troubled, that she wants now to get rid of Krishna, but he doesn't. Because he is squeezing out all the dark poison, and finally she dies. When she dies, as the story goes, they show that she comes into her body, and that body is spread across many miles. What is that spreading across? It's the influence. So when we live, the influences have a kshetra, the field. For example, when there was a person who wanted to throw stones at Sri Aurobindo's house, what did he say? 25 meters near the ashram, I cannot throw anything. Same thing. So when it is said body, because it's a vital body which is being, that it's an influence. Then of course they cut off the body, and the body is like, it become like roots and trees, and they cut off all that thing. And then they all wonder what has happened, and they try to give Krishna a nice baby bath, thinking that, oh my God, he has saved, God has saved him. It's a very sweet story. But actually he is the one who has done it, but he is quietly smiling and cheerful and happy. This is the story of Putana. So Putana is all that apparent knowledge which comes to destroy faith, which comes to destroy aspiration, which comes to destroy all Godward effort. So when we look at this world, we have this big thing. See, one of the bogey that the dark forces work, they make a very long-term plan. One of the greatest slogan given for man was equality, fraternity, and unity. Wonderful slogan. They will use this. Bye. You say, sir, ये ज़्यादा नहीं हो रहा है. बिल्कुल. What happened in the Chinese war? Chinese used, they said, Hindi, Chini, bhai. Wonderful. Such lovely people, huh? Bhai. So our Nehruji believed, they are a bit intellectual person, easily believes these slogans. And they had come right up to Jorhat. I've been posted there. They turned away from Tejpur. They were very near Jorhat, then they turned away. That's because of mother's intervention. So simply because somebody says something, to believe things on face value, first thing that it teaches is, okay, wherever the people like to go here, there, everywhere, read from this book, that book in the name of, whatever goes on. Even stories of Krishna, you'll see all kinds of things happening. Be careful. Many things, interpretations. Are we really sure that we are at the right source? So this is the story of Putana, very profound, very deep, but of course it reveals, it's given as a very story form, beautiful story. So then there's little bit of quietude only for a short while. So the journey of the psychic being, if you look at it like that, or the spiritual journey, before Krishna grows into adulthood, there are different levels of difficulty they will come. So the next level of difficulty comes, which is the demon called Trinavarta. So Trinavarta is another fellow. Trinavarta, so he makes everything fly. And fly means we use the word very interestingly. He flew off. He blew off his mind. Fly in rage. Fit of passion. We use these words, no? They are very interesting. So what Trinavarta does, he raises a storm. So sometimes, we all have experienced at some point storms inside. Literally storm in a teacup. He is capable of doing that. This fellow will create seemingly impossible situation, raise a storm of passions. It's used. Storm of anger. So whenever next time anger or passions besiege us, we should know Trinavarta is around. And here comes even the technique how Sri Krishna deals with him. So what he does is, he is Yashoda Ma. Before that, a little event takes place, and that indicates one of the siddhis in yoga. So Sri Krishna, she has put below the cart. Now imagine the situation. I don't know, people have done jhulan. I have engaged a lot in Savan. We used to have Krishna ji ke jhanki. So I have even participated, become Draupadi during Vastraharan. Okay. So I also laughed later on, felt very sad, very, embarrassed, ran away halfway through. But this used to be like different life stories of Krishna. So she has put Sri Krishna below a cart so that, he is a little bit sheltered. But Krishna is Krishna. You put him in a bondage, he will break it. Psychic being doesn't grow that way. You cannot make the psychic being grow even in moral and ethical chains. You are saying it's for safety, but the safety of reason also is a bar. But it will not do the way we do it outwardly. So Krishna he'll come in Krishna's story number of times. The other is when she ties him to the, tree, ties his hand. So Sri Krishna is put below a cart. And she's very happy. Now suddenly he feels like kicking. He's a boy, he's a little baby. So he kicks at the cart and everything in the cart gets dismantled. But there is a little description that Sri Krishna started experiencing. He became very heavy inside. Again, one of the Yoga Siddhis, Garima, Mahima, Lagima, Sri Aurobindo speaks about them, well-known Siddhis. So as a child, he's experiencing certain things. And as he kicks at the cart, it gets completely dismantled. Now everybody is wondering how this has happened. They say Krishna did it, but Krishna couldn't. He is a baby. Don't blame it on him. Not only it get dismantled, everything, wheel, heel, everything. Nut, bolts, all completely dismantled. He is born to break the rule. Make a rule, Sri Krishna will break it. So all of them go away and then he is lying quietly. I don't know what happened. So Yashoda Ma picks him up and puts him a little bit on the side and says, okay, now you stay here quietly. Then comes Trinavarta, the storm demon. Suddenly all Gokul is seized by this whirlwind. You know how people fly in whirlwind, their life change. And I can tell you this can be so terrible. I know of one person, I'll say he was here, grew up here. And Nolnida remarked, even mother has apparently told, but Nolnida remarked, he's a very special child, take special care of him. So everybody was taking special care of him. Then he grows up, works in one of the departments, falls in love with someone, and they want to get married now. He has to go away, wants to get married. So wants the blessing from Dada, Pranavda. But they forget. Very interestingly, it doesn't take place. They had decided, but they forgot. Even going to Sri Aurobindo's room, this thing, it was a blessing. And Dada says, had he come, I would have removed this whole thing from him. But also this happened that, okay, later on they decided again. And then they went away eventually from here. Literally wandered on the oceans. Had children, God knows whose children they were. Lot of chaos in life. Finally they came back. Not they, only he came back. This lady, it seems, had come only to take him away. She never came. She came back, but then gone. Mother, she was never. And he went. I mean, it's a very, very painful story and a very big reminder and very capable. Extremely brilliant at every level. Many capacities and qualities, which I'll not speak about because, that discloses the identity. He is very dear to me also, so I would not. So, but nevertheless, just imagine what can happen. This is Trinavarta. So not just Trinavarta is like a storm, passions which get aroused, which take you far away. It has happened to people here. Others also. This story I know in detail. I know of a person who was here and then after 2 years, some storm comes and goes away and then they met me and narrated, that later on they lamented what happened to Barind Kumar Ghosh, how Barinda, who was carried away, Suresh Chandra, Moni. I mean, these were great people, who were close to him and these storms took them away. When Anil Baran had come here to do yoga, Anil Baran we all know, he has written such lovely, and Sri Aurobindo spoke about him, the best intellectual understanding of the Gita. And what happened to him? How these Trinavarta can act? So he suddenly felt there must be a spiritual party, because Sri Aurobindo spoke about union of India and Pakistan. This is a reminder for all those people who in the name of Sri Aurobindo were standing in the protest. Politics is a one direction and spiritual awareness, growth is a different direction. Even somebody asked, Are, why none of these ashram, not only our ashram, they named our ashram also, but other Ramakrishna mission, all these people didn't join the protest. Well, because they are not fools. They know what they are doing, and what they are doing is a far more serious thing you cannot even understand. So that's a different subject altogether. So he went away. Why? Because he wanted to, with all goodwill. Now this is not just a protest. He wanted to start a party called the Spiritual Party of India. Sounds nice, wonderful. Many people would have said, after all, there is one person from the ashram who is carrying on the crusade, Sri Aurobindo's work. Be careful of crusaders. In the time of Christ, the crusaders were the worst kind of people. So anyways, he went and started the party. Wanted India and Pakistan and to unite. And just went away completely. Died incognito. And Sri Aurobindo had given him only one message when he had come. He said, Asan bhenge debe na. Make sure that your asan doesn't break. What is the asan is not physical asan. Be steadfast in yoga. What Sri Krishna tells Arjun, practice the yoga with a firm, unwavering mind. These are the challenges which are described. So Trinavarta carries. So Krishna shows the way. What do you do when a storm carries you? Krishna shows the way. Of course, he does it by the power of a siddhi. It's a siddhi. He starts getting heavier and heavier and catches hold of the neck of Trinavarta. See, neck is that sensitive portion. He may be a demon, however big, but this is the choking point. And he starts, Sri Aurobindo says, be more persevering than the difficulty. He starts choking him. Choking him what? Breath comes. Where does the breath come for such a being? Our fear breathes. He doesn't feel afraid. If you are afraid or desire, they will take you far away. So he chokes the breath and now he becomes heavier. So Trinavarta, who is taking, his plan was that I'll take him up and then I'll drop him. So now he's afraid for his life. This is too much. He's becoming heavy, heavy, heavy. So he wants to throw him off. But Sri Krishna is holding the neck. By the neck. So he cannot do this. So he becomes more and more desperate and ultimately he chokes and dies. And then he falls to the ground. Everything clears. Meanwhile, Yashoda suddenly, when storm has moved away, so she's thinking, where has Krishna gone? I had put him, and everybody has come there, and everybody is wondering what happened. So they are all, crying and everything. And then suddenly there is news, there is a demon out there in the fields. Krishna is playing over the demon. You become then a master of the art. But initially one has to face all these are real challenges of spiritual life. So Sri Krishna comes. They bring him, baby, 1-year-old baby. What has he done? Again, they don't believe. He has done it. You say, my God, thank God, some divine intervention has taken place and the demon is dead. Meanwhile, Nandgaon, now all these events are taking place. And the only thing that has been told to Vasudeva is, don't talk about, Vasudeva tells Nand, they both meet. He says, see, this fellow is after his life, Kans. Don't create much news about him. So he remains quiet, not much news. When people often say, we are here for yoga. This is most dangerous. Say, I am here for mother. Yoga is what? Yoga is opening to the mother. I am becoming a yogi. Some people, whether they are yogi or not, but they develop so much pride. I have joined the ashram. What are you doing? I am doing yoga. The forces will make you do yo-yo. You know what is yo-yo? Yoga? Oh, is it? Okay, inwardly understood the meaning of yoga. Because these forces are on the lookout. That's how Sri Aurobindo cautions us in Savitri. So when he falls on the ground, again, who has done it? Anyways, everybody is happy in the Nandgaon. So finally, when all this has happened, Ma Yashoda says, I am not going to leave him anywhere. I will only feed him. He'll always be on my lap. So she keeps him on the lap. Now she wants to protect whom? He who is born to protect the world. There is a very nice, it's in Hindi, but I can't help reciting. There is a bhajan written by one of the kavis, one of the medieval poets. I think his name is Narayan, but anyways, the lines run like this. Dekh sakhi mohe achraj aave. He said, I am very surprised because, imagine Yashoda is feeding Krishna. Dekh sakhi mohe achraj aave, Brahma anadi anant agochar. Neti neti jako shruti gave. I am seeing Brahma, who is Anadi Ananta Gojar. All the Vedas speak of me as not this, not this. So Nandalal, aaj janani ki, baha pakad ke, chali wo sikhavi. Say, what is this happening? He is born as a little baby. Mystery of God's birth in time. There is a whole thing in Savitri. This is the last secret. Sri Krishna speaks of 3 secrets. Rahasyam. First is God's birth in time. It's very difficult to understand because God is no, you can understand it by the grace. And my logic is very simple because we will say, how can divine become? So I say, oh, you mean divine cannot do something? Is he omnipotent? Now you are caught. If he is omnipotent, he can limit himself. He can limit itself means the whole universe is the example. He limits himself in a blade of grass. If he can limit itself in a blade of grass, why can't he limit itself in the human body? This is the logic of avatar. Otherwise people will say, no, he is beyond. Yes, but the beyond, formless becoming form, infinite becoming finite is the whole creation story of creation. So anyways, she is all the time carrying him, and one day while Krishna is asleep, he yawns. She looks into his mouth. And she sees the universe. She faints. She says, what has happened? But that's only one vision. So when she faints, why she faints? Because she enters into such a vastness. Who is this? So she thinks, have I hallucinated? And she faints when she gets up, something happened, something is... Then she says, no, he must have yawned. So he is... Then they all say, better you give him a name first, because otherwise this child is nameless. They don't know he is not only nameless, he is both formless and form. He is nameless wearing a name. So Garg Rishi is called, and he has to give a name. And immediately Nandji tells him, sir, please don't advertise this event. Kans is after... I don't know this baby or whose baby or which baby. Though he knows it's by now after meeting Vasudevi, he knows it's his baby. He says, please don't advertise, I want a low-key ceremony. Because Nand is the king of that. King means he's the chieftain of that whole Nandgaon, named after him. So he says, okay, no problem. So then Balaram and Sri Krishna comes. So Balaram he names, he has that quality of Ram. You know what is Ram? Actually, what does it mean? The name has a capacity of giving you transcendental bliss. Ram. Just ever... now of course for us it's Ma, but I can tell you just chanting the name of Ram. Valmiki did what? To transform from Ratnakar to Valmiki. Ram. So his name is Ram. But he brings that power with him, Bal, because he is Sankarshan. We have spoken, I think, story of Sankarshan passingly. He is Seshnag. So he is given the name Balaram. His other name is Baladeva. So Baladev is the name, Balaram is the name. Okay, that's one. His Bal means, imagine, Sankarshan. He is the Seshnag carrying all the universe. Power of gravity. Nothing can really, is more powerful than gravity. So then comes Krishna. No name till now. So he very strangely says, well, I can see this child has taken different births and has taken different colors. This time he has come in a dark complexion. So we'll call him Krishna. But if you read only the Bhagavat, this part, so look at he named him only after his physical color. No. Because he was told, don't tell who he is. This is the best veil. Physical body's color. Who will look at a dark complexion boy? He's named Krishna, maybe somebody. But Krishna has another meaning. And Krishna means that which draws everything towards himself. That's how the word akarshan, vikarshan comes. Krishna is he who draws everything. Helplessly, everybody is drawn towards him. So he's Krishna. But in the story in Bhagavat, very carefully, because Bhagavat has to be true to the tale also. So he's not supposed to advertise. If he says, oh, this boy will draw the whole universe towards himself, then Kans will also listen. He'll say, hey, where is this guy? He says he's dark in color, so I am naming him Krishna. This is the mystery of his tale. So, of course, there are other aspects also, but this is how the story goes. He is called Krishna from that day onwards. Then, once he got a name, the exploits start. And one of the exploits that he does is, we all know, but this is again a very profound meaning in that. Sri Krishna goes and enters into houses when people are away. He has his own way. I am reminded of a line from Savitri, so I can't help. He says, as a thief's in the night shall be the covert tread of one who steps unseen into his own house. So what was he doing? It was his way of converting. He doesn't do any outer ritual. So all of them started complaining, what is this? Your chora, your ladla, your baby comes. He is no more a baby. Don't trust him. He may be 3, 4, 5 year old, but this fellow makes sure that he'll climb up on everybody's shoulder and he either breaks open the pot or takes it down, or he will put holes if he cannot reach. And he pierces, so all the curd and everything is flowing and people are enjoying. What kind of a baby this is? And so they will ask him, it is there in the Bhagavat also, that, are you a thief? They say you are a thief. He'll say, I am not a thief, they are thieves. His logic was very simple. See, origin, divine communism, divine socialism. I keep saying, don't teach us all these things. Communism, socialism. You have removed the divine and made it asuric. Divine communism is that, what is divine communism? Here, in the ashram, it's a divine commune. Isn't it a commune? Everybody sits together. Somebody was discussing, I said, Bhaiya, we are experiencing it, and last 100 years it is established here. Just when communism was getting finished off, that time the commune started here. And what is the commune? Here everybody, regardless of your caste, creed, status, money, we all sit together, we get the same dining room food, we can sit on the same table, we sit on the same table, it's not asked what is your caste and everything, and we eat together. There is no special preference. So, this is the divine commune. So what is the difference between divine commune and communism as practiced there? One thing which makes the whole difference. Communism, as it is practiced in the world, proclaimed in the world, has no divine in it. It's biological. All men are equal. Why? Because biologically they are equal. And this is very deceptively dangerous. Because if you take externalities, there is differentiation. If you make all men equal outwardly, then you are creating a great disservice to diversity. See, where is diversity in any communist country? You won't find it. You won't find it. It cannot thrive. Diversity cannot thrive there. You try in Islamic country, equality of that kind, you will not see diversity. It's not allowed. Flattening outwardly. But what is divine communism? Outwardly there will be diversity, stratification. That's the law of nature. But everybody's life is centered around the mother. Around the divine. That's why, people at one time, what was their routine? Morning they will wake up, rush to mother's balcony darshan. Then there would be vegetable darshan, inside the ashram. So they'll go and mother would see the vegetables, but they want to have darshan of the mother. And then she would walk on the terrace, so terrace darshan. Then she will be sometimes cows and milk darshan. And then she will go to the playground, so playground darshan. Whole day. Then midnight darshan. So what was it? It's not a ritual. It's not just this is like religion. Not at all. It's to teach us how life can be centered around the divine. That's what she taught us. Morning when you wake up, centered around the divine. So that life is rightly centered. When you are centered inside, you can play with any amount of differentiation without developing these feelings of superiority, inferiority, hatred, anger. You may engage in war. And yet you will be centered right. As very rightly, set the center right and everything else will fall into place. So this is the difference between divine communism taught by Sri Krishna, the original. Let's take claim, no? After all. Divine is the center. So he distributes everything. And if we live in that spirit, that I had accumulated something, I thought it's for someone, something, and it's gone. Gone means Sri Krishna has taken it. Where has he taken it? Wherever he wants, given it to somebody else. You don't start fighting over that. You don't feel jealous. You don't feel that smallness. So follow Krishna, not just that external. So he gives the lesson of divine communism. But naturally, Ma Yashoda is tormented. Too many complaints. All children who are truly developed, there are two kinds of lines along which humanity evolves. One is the Asuric and other is Devik. Sri Aurobindo speaks about it in his article on Superman. So you see, even the Asuric that time forces, we have talked of only two, many others will come. They are very powerful. They can shout at the top of their, like slogans, very loud slogans, filthy things. That's an Asuric type of. And there is the godlike Superman, who is also very powerful, but they are always with knowledge, love, unity is their background. So Sri Krishna is developing along those lines of the true Superman. But Kansas, if you look at them, they are all Asuric Superman. So when Sri Krishna is developing and all these events start happening, so Yashoda Ma doesn't know what to do because complaints are coming. So if your child is simply following the standard format, you may be happy, but he is becoming a copy of the parents. But if a child goes beyond the format, there are two lines along which he may go. One is the Asuric, the other is the Davik. There are children who are of a Davik kind, who go beyond the format. So here is Sri Krishna going beyond the format, and Yashoda Ma is very worried. So once again she's wanting to scold. Then one day, yes, so the story goes that all the cow herdsmen, they one day come and complain. Tharo choro, lalla, matti kha rahi hai. Your baby is eating mud. Do you approve of it? They say, no, not at all. I give him everything. On top of it, he is taking milk and all this. Why he has to take mud in addition? So she asked Krishna, the famous song after this. He asked Krishna, are you eating mud? He said, no. But they are telling me, they are telling lies, you will believe anything that they will say. And so he said, no, show me your mouth. And here comes the real darshan of the whole universe. It described in detail. All that is outside, including all the desire, the lower level, the hell, heaven, everything, she sees within Sri Krishna. This has very profound impact, even in terms of understanding. But we'll talk about it in a moment. When she sees this, she says, I don't know. Who is this boy? But then she loses her awareness and she falls down. Again she forgets, but she remembers something. And says, what is it that I saw? Some delusion, some hallucination I had that I saw like that. This vision is of great importance. It looks one of the Bal Leelas. It is a Bal Leela. So the psychic being slowly expands into the cosmic vision. Is taking place. And in the cosmic consciousness, the whole universe is within us, not outside us. It's very amazing. Sri Aurobindo describes this. There are two poems people can read later on, Cosmic Consciousness and Cosmic Man, where he says, London and Tokyo and Paris, my spirit seeing are. He describes. It's a real yogic experience. And then when you have it, it also gives you a new understanding of life. Normally we say God is up there, kya kar raha hai. There is a song also, no? All, and we are very fond of these songs. That is an Islamic ideology where they say, Dunya banane wale, kya tere man mein samai. You are watching from above. Even now people ask this question, which from an Indian point of view is fundamentally wrong. The question is, God is there, He will intervene, He will, what is He doing when all this is happening? But He is also here and whole thing is within Him. Therefore, logical conclusion, whichever way you go, you will end up with God. He is not only the center, He is the circumference. Try going anywhere. Great asuras have tried. Ultimately, where do they lead? They reach their nemesis. There is a wall they cannot penetrate. You will fall back. You have tried, but He allows you to go, gives you that leeway. That's the story of Kansa. He is trying, but you cannot because he is the Mother uses the word, you are the unsurpassable barrier against all excess of evil. Unsurpassable barrier. It's even a meditation. So many times when people meditate, they meditate on divine presence in the heart or the head or above the head. But one can also meditate upon inside the Mother. Very safe, very cozy. Because you are surrounded by her presence. What can harm you? What can hurt you? She bear the impact. I think I mentioned this once. I had a very interesting experience. There would be somebody who will come who will start sucking energies, and while playing with Mother's picture, playing means I was patient, I can't do anything. Once I thought of giving up that case because I could see this is a being who is with vampiric tendencies, and suddenly I accidentally put Mother's picture like this. I didn't plan anything, and suddenly that whole flow of that person's energy got cut. I realized, oh, this is so wonderful. So I would quietly put Mother's picture will be here, not right in front of me. That will be probably odd, but just on the side. It was enough to cut off. When I was narrating this experience to someone, he was saying, Mother told this to Navjatji. When he was going out, that put me between you and others. So what does she see? The whole universe is within Krishna. That's why there is hope. The other day somebody was saying, where is hope? I say, if you look at events, circumstances, you can do it both ways. I look at it optimistically because that's my nature and I see divine working everywhere. But you can equally say with the logic, but the moment you say divine is present in all and all is in the divine, there is only hope, whichever way you go. So she sees that here is my little baby, is not just my baby, is carrying the whole universe within him. Just as when Mother, see, there are many Bal Leelas of the Mother which are like that. Even Sri Aurobindo's. How did Trinavarta and all these beings come to Sri Aurobindo? Not one by one. At the age of 7, he experienced a whole darkness of the world entering him. He says it passingly. And then he goes to England and he says it left him the day he landed on the Indian soil. So they take much greater burden. What about mother? At age of 2 or 3, she would be sitting and she would go into trance. And her mother once told her, "You are sitting as if you are carrying the burden of the whole world upon you." And she says, "Yes, indeed." She also thought that this girl has gone crazy. But this is how the divine beings come. Sri Krishna took the burden upon himself. He draws things. He draws the asuras towards him. That is the interesting part. Because thus only they can be eliminated. And that's why with regard to ashram also I must mention. So, Sri Aurobindo says some of those, if you draw the conclusion that somebody I am giving more time, so he is very developed in yoga and closer to me, you will be mistaken. And then he says, some of the greatest asuras I have called to be near me. And adds, sometimes the greater the disciple, the greater the asura. To convert. With Sri Krishna it was not conversion. Only one asura gets converted during that time. Akrura, from the Kansas, all asuras were born in around that family. So as someone says, see how the plan goes. So in the time of Rama is in Ayodhya, asuras are in wherever Lanka was. Okay, I am not, because there are debates whether it's Java, Sumatra, whether it's this Lanka, whether it's drowned. So let's not, so wherever Lanka was. Okay, neat asuras and Rama. In Sri Krishna's time, same kul. Devaki is Kansa's sister. In the same family, you have asuras and devas. So, what will be Sri Aurobindo's plan? In the same person, the same contrasting tendency, the Devi and the Asuric have been brought together. Because this is the final change. Here you have to undergo a finality. Either you get transformed or you collapse or the Asura gets converted, whatever it is. So this is the original plan where in the same kul, you have Asuras were born, in the same kul, Devas were born. Many of these Devas were born as Gop and Gopis, whom we know that they are, as the word goes, Gop and Gopi, they were guardians of light, they were beings of the luminous worlds, and they had taken birth to be around Krishna and to participate in the Sri Krishna Leela. So they were all beings of higher world, they had come and they play around with him. So this is the early childhood of Sri Krishna, the divine child. And this is how many times certain yogic journeys proceed. The level of difficulty mounts and psychic being grows through all these difficulties until a time comes when it must have the final fight. But that's for a little later. The final fight is between Krishna and Kansa, between the psychic being which has developed fully and the ego. It's a last ditch effort to destroy. But as we know, it's a fixed match. After a point, it becomes a fixed match. You have to navigate Trinavarta and all that. The Trinavarta carries you away in all that passion, desires. Ek bangla bane nyara, then gone. But then it comes back, the journey resumes. But if you have navigated through all this, the difficulties will come in different forms. But eventually, one is ready for the eternal dance of Sri Krishna in the eternal Vrindavan. Okay. Jai Ma.